Oh, I can talk about. It's time. This has gotten pushed back for various reasons. It's time to talk about Chimeraland. So you may have heard of this game, or you may not have. It had like a weird kind of scattershot marketing campaign. Chimeraland is a Chinese MMO. It is developed by who is it? Pixelsoft, who has also made, let's check the Steam page, Chimeraland. It's their only game. Published by Level Infinite, who's also put out Tower of Fantasy, which is some other MMO. All their games is a very new venture. I think Chimeraland and what is Alara Prime, another coming next year. Yeah, so this is basically their first game. Chimeraland is, if you heard about this game in any way, it was probably because of their character creator. That's how I learned about it. It is a, how do I describe it? It's a Chinese MMO. It is a sandbox MMO, and it is based on, the idea is it's just a big open world, and there's like lore, I guess, but you just kind of get dropped. So you make your character. The character creator in this is one of the wildest things I've ever seen. There's something like a dozen different species, and you can pick. Such a weird interface. You can pick male or female variant of each species, but it'll be things like you got like a couple different varieties of human. You got there's like sharks. Well, so like the male, there's like the aquatic species, and the male version is like shark people, but the female version is like jellyfish people. And there's like gorillas. I think there's like monkeys as well, specifically monkeys versus gorillas. There's like bugs. You can make like a common rider looking thing. There's I made a tiger guy because I think tigers are cool, like a white tiger. I'm not a furry. I just think like tiger people are cool. Get off my back. There's like, what is ox, like bird things. And also, it's not just like the male or female. There's also various different stages of life. So you can be like a baby jellyfish, which is actually literally just a gigantic polyp. It's super weird. There's like squids. Geez, what people with horns. It's crazy, and there's like 100,000 different customization options. It's honestly, the game is free. First of all, I would almost recommend just downloading it to make some cool looking characters, because it can get wild. It gets, the level of detail you have with like every single part of the face. I was getting exhausted. It took me like 2 hours because I wanted to see every single thing you could do to your character. And some of the stuff ends up getting really fucked up looking because of like, especially because the character I was playing, like once you start like moving different parts of the face in like 100 different ways, stuff just starts clipping through each other, and it ends up looking kind of bad. Normally, like, you don't really see that stuff during gameplay because you're zoomed out, you're behind the back and all that. But yeah, the model just starts breaking at a certain point, and you can get some bizarre looking stuff. It's like Ark. It's like the Ark character creator, but times 1,000. If that sounds terrifying to you. Maybe not as freakish as Ark with the proportions. Everything fits into like a general skeleton, but yeah, it's in terms of like variety of just like what kind of things, it's really something else. The game itself is garbage in a way that I kind of love. It's so... I'm trying to find words for it. Chimeraland's gameplay is like... So you get dropped in. The tutorial never ends. The tutorial is basically... When I say it never ends, I mean the tutorial is basically like... It's not even a tutorial. It's like a quest line that covers every single system in the game down to like all of the different like tiers of each system. Like it isn't just going to teach you like how to make a thing. It's then going like at a certain point later, you're going to go to like the tier 2 of that thing and then the tier 3 of that thing. You're just going to keep going. It provides you constantly with goals to do. And it's communicated in like the worst way possible, because it's just like a bunch of text and just do this thing. There are elements to the game that I find fun. There are systems that I find cool. There's like a billion of them, but I find some of them actually quite interesting. I'm trying to like... because there's so much shit in this game. And, like, honestly, imagine like an entire MMOs. So like, in most MMOs, there's like an onboarding process. Like in, for instance, like FF14, right? I think 14 has a tremendous onboarding process for what it's worth. That is, everything in 14, like, it does hit you with a lot of stuff right off the bat. There's a lot of, especially story-wise, right? Like, a lot of proper nouns, a lot of things that you got to get used to. Like, it does hit you with a bit of a, like, a, whew, okay, you got to get familiar somewhat with this, like, interface and everything. Not everything in it, but just enough. And there's a lot of stuff to digest story-wise and dialogue-wise. There's a lot of story up front. But what 14 does really well is that, well, number one, the game really lets you play it at your own pace. Because everything is like quest line based. So everything in 14 is unlocked via doing some kind of a quest line. Even if it's the most like low effort, like go talk to this, the quest line is go talk to this character. It's still like a thing you have to do to unlock it, right? So it basically like hits you with, here's the very basics of the game, and then all the other stuff, you're going to go like do a quest line, and you're going to go through the quest, and you're going to eventually unlock it as a reward at the end of the quest line. Like when you want to unlock a dungeon, like you unlock a dungeon, like the game takes you through the story, and through the story you have like mandatory dungeons that you got to go through. And then there's a bunch of side dungeons that are not covered in the main quest. So what you do for those is there'll be like an NPC, and they have like a thing above their head specifically denoting that doing their quest will unlock something, and it's not just like you'll get some gil for it. You do you talk to them, they say, this thing is happening at this location. Then you get a little quest thing, if you accept it, and then you go over there, and then you can queue up for the dungeon, and then you do the dungeon, and then great, now you've unlocked the thing. Excuse me. Like permanently. Fantastic. Pretty much everything in the game is done through some kind of quest line where you get to do it at your own pace. And there's like a structure, is what I'm saying. There's a structure to the progression. Chimeraland has basically no structure. They came up with all of these systems, all of these things, and then they implemented all of them. They made them all function, and then they were like, fuck, how do we get the player to like do this thing? Oh, we'll have a little character always like a little spirit guide Navi thing, always telling you what your next objective is. And it's very overwhelming. It's extremely overwhelming. Like, it is not good. It is just constant. Like, there's no time to digest things. There's no like. Okay, here's a good example. So, very early on in the game, like, one of the first things you do is they say you need to make a camp. So you open up a crafting menu that I figured would be used for a lot more things than it actually is. You open up a little crafting menu. You just click a couple buttons to make your camp. You place the camp down. I look at the camp and it says, "Oh, a camp is for like resting and cooking food." So I go to the camp and I'm like, "Oh, let me see if I can try to make some food." The game does not want you to make food yet. Now you can, but the game doesn't want you to, despite the fact that you've just placed down a campsite. The game does not want you to explore that at all. It wants you to place it down and then go to the next thing, which is something else. I don't remember what you do, but then like 5 minutes later, after I've done a couple more like quests and seen a couple more mechanics and systems, it says, "Go make food at the campsite." And I'm like, why was that not the first thing you had me do? Or like, "Oh, make food. Oh, in order to make food, why don't you go collect some apples?" And then you get introduced to like the harvesting mechanic. And you get like just make these like overarching goals or something, and then use them as opportunities to introduce the other mechanics. Like, here's a basic recipe to make like an apple something, a dish with an apple. Go collect some apples nearby or whatever. Go collect some food from nearby. Go kill this animal from near. Something like that. They don't even have to give you like a starter recipe. They could do a thing where like the first food item that you like collect after you place down the campfire, it'll give you like a low level basic recipe, because like pretty much every meat, for instance, can just be every raw meat can just be like you get 2 of them and you can cook it into like a small meal. Like just something as simple as that. Like it just gives you the recipe that you can make with that thing alone, because you can pick whatever starting area you want. So I imagine there's different resources in different areas. I'm just throwing out suggestions. The point is, it just throws you into like a billion different things. And the thing is that once you have your head wrapped around them, it's not bad at all. There's some enjoyable things. I should get to that. The game does well to give. If you like games where you have a constant drip feed of goals and 100 different ways to progress, Chimeraland is for you. If you just want things to do that's relatively satisfying and kind of interesting, Chimeraland is for you. I do, in a weird way, like this game. So, like, one thing I like doing is actually, like, expanding my house. There's a whole housing system. You have a building mode, that you can go into at any time and use. So you can craft, it's called, like, the spirit orb, which is, like, a structure item. And the spirit orb is, like, it denotes where your house is. It's like the spawn point for your house, essentially. You can place it down anywhere in the world where, like, on the proper like terrain that matches. It's like roughly tile based. You can think of it as being like kind of tile based. So if you just place it on like a tile where it makes sense, or where that's valid, put that down, and then you can start building around it. There's like a bunch of different materials that you can make into different kinds of flooring, different kinds of walls, doors, windows. You also like different roofs, stairs, all this different stuff. And then you have like a housing level that you can level it up with like the requirements are like totally arbitrary, but it's like you just need certain materials. Like, get this kind of cloth and this kind of wood. Go to your spirit orb and, like, you just click a button, housing level up, which increase, because there's like a building limit. It's like the forge in Halo. There's like a building limit to like how many of a certain type of like foundation, for instance, you can put down, and leveling it up raises the cap, and it raises like where your house is, like the limits, the bounds of your house essentially. Because like when you're in your house, I think it's like you don't. I think you get some bonuses while you're like on your property, like regenerating HP, I think, and stuff like that. There's like a whole farming system. You can make farmland. It isn't really that useful unless you have a lot of it, from what I can tell, because it's usually just more useful to just go around the area around your house and just collect bushes or whatever. You level up. There's like a bunch of different skills that you level up Skyrim style. So like, there's like a logging skill. So you have a logging level. So you go to trees, and every tree in the world can be cut down. They'll respawn at intervals, but yeah, every tree can be cut down. So you go just hold down F, you'll just take out an axe and start cutting down a tree. After you get like lumber and XP for that. It goes towards your logging skill, and then you level up your logging skill, and you get like an experience point for logging, and there's like a bunch of different things you can level up in your logging skill, like basic things like, you get one more resource when you log, or like specific kinds of wood you'll get more of. And you gotta like put a point in that. That extends to like every single skill, and there's like a bunch. Like Jesus, obviously there's ones with like cooking, there's mining, there's harvesting, which is like harvesting like bushes and like plant life and stuff like that. There's like searching, I'm pretty sure, which is like when you just search like dead animal bodies and stuff like that after you kill them. There's combat in this game. Combat's interesting. There's like a bunch of different weapons. There's like a bunch of different weapon types. There's like a dozen different weapons, like melee weapons, ranged weapons like bows and guns, and they have like durabilities that you can repair, and each weapon has like skills. Like there's different moves associated with each one. I don't know if they reuse them. I haven't seen enough of the weapons yet, but like you get like a big sword, and the big sword it'll have like 3 different moves. One is just like your basic like slash attack. There'll be like one where you like buff yourself up, and then it'll have one where you like cut these like energy cleaves in the air, and it goes forward as like a projectile. And then you get like a different weapon, and it's got a totally different move set. I'm like, what? And they've got different move sets like in the air, and like you have air moves. And some of them, like, it'll be like this big, they'll just like drop down to the ground and do a big ground slam with your big hammer. Or you get or you do like you'll like lunge forward in the air, you'll zoom forward in the air towards like a target, whatever you're targeting. There's like, you gotta like reload ammo on your bows and stuff like that. Oh my god. So like the game tells you to like get okay, so there's a system in the game of pets. There's a pet system. Here's how you get pets. The game gives you what it calls a mustard crossbow. So you let me see if I remember this correctly. Let me actually... Chimeraland. Mustard crossbow. Okay. So, okay. The mustard shot crossbow is best used to capture the high... let's see. So use it to capture beasts around the land. In order to use it, lower the health of the beast that you wish to capture until the Capture Now icon appears above it. So, like, there's this... Wait, how do the eggs happen? Egg. Like monster eggs. Pets. Okay. capturing pets. Okay. When a strange beast nears death, the capture icon will appear above its head. Players can then use the mustard shot crossbow capturing device to launch a net and capture it. After a successful capture, players have a good chance of obtaining a temporary strange beast and a smaller... Okay. Now I remember. So, you lower their health, like Pokemon style, take out the mustard shot crossbow, shoot it with net, and then, okay. The highest likelihood is that you will get what's called a temporary pet. Temporary pets are like, you can use them as pets for like a time. Pets are like, it depends on what kind it is. Some can be like mounts. Some just follow you around. But you'll get a temporary pet. Like, it only lasts for a certain length of time. What you want, if you want to collect the pet permanently, is that there is a smaller chance that the beast, for some reason, when you sedate it with mustard, it will drop an egg. It'll lay an egg of itself. I mean, what else would it lay? You can then take that egg, go to your home, and there is a home item that you can create, which is a nest. So you put the egg down in the nest, and then interact with the nest so that your character sits over it. You literally roost over the egg like a chicken, like huddling over the egg for a certain amount of time, depending on what kind of egg it is. And then after that amount of time, the egg hatches and you have permanent access to that pet. You roost the egg with your own character. It's bizarre. And then it goes into your pet collection. And, okay, so they make you make this thing. It's a wooden arcade machine that you put in your house. And the arcade machine, I think they call it the game center, is used for a bunch of different, like, things. It's just like, if this was like a theme park MMO, these would just be like areas that you could go to do these activities, but they didn't have that, but they wanted to include these kinds of like preset activities, like instanced activities basically. So they were like, just make a thing for it. Let's just make an arcade cabinet that's wooden. So you walk up to it, there's a couple things you can do in it. One of them is the like creature devouring game. So basically it teleports you, so you pick... Okay. So you pick like a Devouring Pets. So you pick like a there's like a list of like different beasts that you can have your pet square off with. Once you pick one, you go into like an instance little like arena, and then you summon your pet, go up to the enemy one, and then interact with it, and you can select Devour. And then your pet and that one will start fighting. They got little health bars, and they just you can't interact as far as I've tried. You just watch them duke it out. And then once your pet wins, the other beast will like fall over. And like there'll be like an animation of like a big shark ghost coming out of the ground and like devouring it, which is like your pet absorbing its essence and like leveling up. It's something. You can also do this with temporary pets. Like you just go to it and you click on like the devour option. You go to like the same mini game, if I remember correctly. Again, there's like a lot of things that I remember. There's like this whole system I haven't even seen yet called Pet Evolution, which is like you can combine pets to make different ones, like with different like parts. Let's see, Pet Evolution. Most pets that can be evolved have certain conditions for devouring parts. Let's take Stegosaurus, for example. Players need to first incubate a lotus horse deer, and after devouring it, they'll obtain a snow pine tail before it can be evolved. So you gotta eat it? Do you have to eat it yourself? I don't remember. Devouring Pets. Players can tap on a temporary pet to summon the pet near the player's... 10 pets should be deployed away from structures. Upon winning, the player's pet will gain XP and have a chance of replacing a current part of itself with its opponent's devourable part. Not every creature has parts which can be devoured, and not every creature can devour parts. Okay. So, like, you devour... So you have your pet devour other animals, and then there's a chance that it can get a part of it? What the fuck? What is Bloodlines? Under Character Information Bloodline, players can select up to 5 pets to link to their bloodline. 4% of linked pets' attributes are converted into character attributes. What the fuck? There's so much shit in this game. Like it's wild. There's this, oh my god. It's insane. And it just keeps throwing it at you. And it's kind of fun. The combat it doesn't feel great. It feels alright. There's some neat stuff in there, like the PvE feels fine. There's like these totems that you can go out to and like trigger them, and it'll start like battles, and that's like how you kind of get like better level equip. It makes sense. You're doing like, I was kind of avoiding a lot of like the enemy combat like that just because I didn't see the point in it, but it's actually how you like level, like get better weapons, essentially. There's this whole skill of sieging, which is like, there's ancient ruins around the world, which also respawn. And you can go up to them with like a siege weapon, which are like specific types of weapons. It'll be like a hammer, or like, you can hold like a cannon. Like you can just hold it in your hands, and you just break it apart. Like all the parts of the ruin have like their health bars. You break it apart, and then you level up your siege. And the siege, I don't even know, like what does sieging do? What is sieging? No results. I'm on the wiki. I can't find. I don't know what sieging does. It's so much. It's crazy. And there's not a ton of info. Like, I'm going to the wiki, there's a lot of stuff that's just not filled in. Like, it's very much an unexplored game. They just dropped this thing. It's really something. And again, it's free. Oh, I should mention, it's free to play, but it has, like, a bunch of, like, crazy fucking pay-to-win microtransaction shit. That might turn you off. At the same time, I have seen, like, one other person playing this game. So, I don't really know what the point of paying to win is. I see houses. Like, I see other players' houses, but I don't see other players. I don't know what the point of, like, paying to win is. Maybe PvP? I don't know. I'm assuming there's gotta be PvP in this game. It's like, you make a bed. You make, like, a bed, and you sit down in the bed and meditate, and when you meditate, you have the option to astral project, and astral projecting, you go to like a dream world, and you get to fight these like instanced bosses to like level up your character. Like, what the fuck is this? It's just always hitting you with new stuff. But like, and like it's terribly presented. Like, again, like I mentioned, just like, it's all of the information, all of these systems are introduced to the player in the worst possible ways. At the same time, I have like a little dinosaur mount that I can ride around. It's like a big old dinosaur, and it's kind of sick, and he can fight with you. Oh, there's this other thing, they're called Attendants. I don't even know if they're like useful. So like in your house, you'll just walk into your house, and there will be like a little fox man sitting at your table, and you can talk to him, and there'll be like a little interaction, like you can pay him to go away or something like that, and he'll like ask, he'll be like, well, if you want me to go away, you gotta pay me. And you can like recruit them, you could like recruit him to be an attendant, which I don't know what the attendants do besides they can fight beside you. I haven't used it, I haven't found it useful yet, maybe it is. So like the attendants fight with you, and they'll just be little characters. Like sometimes a little lizard man will be in my house, and he's just there. He just showed up. He's just sitting on my bed. Excuse me. What the fuck else? So you have your attendant fighting with you. You can have your dinosaur pet fighting with you. You can like drink milk from animals. Like I go up to like a cow, weird, like it's like a rock cow, and I have the option to just drink its milk, and your character just gets down below it and starts sucking. What the fuck? It's something else. It's really something else. If anything I've said to you sounds interesting, check it out, I guess. Oh yeah, it's a mobile game. It's literally a mobile game. Like I noticed this, like if you look at the UI, it starts making sense. Just like the way it looks and it's designed, like it looks cheap. There's like tons of pop-in. It's really bad. And I remember like seeing like you get a prompt that's like tap/click to dismiss or something like that, and I was like, oh. The Steam page uses screenshots from the mobile version. What the fuck? Yeah, it's a big piece of shit, but in a way that I kind of like. Let's see what the reviews say. They steal your money. Not recommended. I bought 2 packs from them a month ago. They still haven't given them to me. What? They don't seem to understand that these were daily login packs. So I've missed out on tons of rewards? They don't care. What? Customer service does not seem to be well trained. They do not even seem fully staffed. I constantly got garbled responses from them, which equated to, I don't know, I'll ask someone else. And to hear that from a customer service agent is horrifying. Do not give them your money. What? Oh my god. So I guess if you buy shit, they just won't give it to you. Which is weird. That doesn't make sense. It's just a digital item? They probably just fucked it up. They probably just fucked up like whatever code gives it to you. Oh yeah, another thing. So you can you have to link your account to something, or else your character disappears once you your character disappears once you log out. So like if you play this game for the first time, one of the first things you should do is go to the menu, then link your account to you can make an account with them. Like I didn't want to link my Google or anything, so I just linked my account to their I think they make you make an account for anything. Link it so you think your shit doesn't get deleted randomly. Like what? Oh yeah. Also. One thing that made the game tremendously easier for me to get my head around was that a lot of because this was designed for mobile, they had to come up with a way to integrate the idea of mobile touchscreen controls mean that you can look around and tap or click on things basically pretty seamlessly, which is a nice thing about mobile gaming. I think Terraria plays better on mobile than PC. That's just my 2 cents. For that same reason. So when you So, like, when you... What the fuck was I gonna say? Oh, yeah. So there's, like, all these things the game wants you to click on, but the only way I could find to, like, free the mouse was to, like, hit the escape button, which opens up a side menu, and then, like, use that, and then just hit escape again to, like, close that out, click on the thing I wanted to click on. But if you hit the tilde key, or I guess the accent mark key on the keyboard, instantly freeze toggles between mouse look and free mouse. Yeah. Let's see. Not recommended. One more example of a good idea but destroyed with pay-to-win mechanics. You can't beat the whales. I don't even know in what. It's fine to good, but do not expect the dev team to care nor understand 80% of chat. Learning curve is medium to high. You will receive countless items with no idea what the hell they do. The trailers are obviously showing, for a lack of a better term, lies that are not currently in this version of the game. Cool. Apparently someone, they didn't, if you don't play for 2 weeks to a month, they just delete your account. I wonder if that'll happen. But do you think if I log back in immediately after, because I haven't played it in a minute, just because I was busy with other things, think if I logged in right now, let's do an experiment. Let me open up the game. Let's see, last played August 15th. Has it been that long? I got bogged the hell down in work. Let's open up the game while I'm recording. And let's take bets on whether or not my account has been completely deleted. Why does it open in windowed mode? Okay. Chimeraland. There's like a bunch of dinosaurs on it. I guess there's dinosaurs in game. I guess while it's loading, I can just kind of give my wrap. Oh, it's the only game that I've ever seen that has an option to put different visual filters over it. Like, there's an option in the settings menu for like putting, you could put like a black and white filter over it, different kinds of like lighting filters to make it like the light all like bluish green. No idea why. Let's see. Looks like my account's still here. Enter. Yep. It's still there. If you're curious what server I play on, if you'd like to play with me, the server I play on is 304 area Jade Coast. I don't know if that area. I don't know if that. Sure. My character's name is Ligmatique. Ligma what? Ligmatique. Of the Fiery Hills faction. Location unknown. Yeah. Chimeraland. It is a game that you can play.